Guys, recently in one of my videos, I mentioned that I was going to do a top 5 comedies that you might not have heard of. So let's get you laughing. Okay guys, for my honorable mention, I'm gonna throw up Just Friends. Just Friends is a movie with Ryan Reynolds, and it's set over the Christmas holidays, and Anna Faris is hilarious. She really steals the show in a lot of the scenes, but also the relationship between Ryan Reynolds and his brother. I can't remember his name at the time, but he was also in Freddy vs. Jason, this guy. The way they are constantly knocking on each other and pretty much beating the crap out of each other through the whole movie. It's really funny. And also Chris Klein plays a complete douchebag jerk in it, and he pulls it off swimmingly. Okay, my number 5. A lot of people did not like this movie, and it might be your bathroom humor type movie, but for some reason it really clicked with me, and that is MacGruber. I love MacGruber. Just thinking about it makes me laugh. You know, if you've watched SNL and you've seen the MacGruber skits, and then they ended up making a MacGruber movie, and I didn't think much of it, but I remember renting it when it came out, and I laughed through the whole thing. I had a great time with MacGruber. Just to give you a taste, one of the scenes is there's a huge montage that he's setting up and he's assembling his team, and then the aftermath of that, I almost fell out of my chair. I'm not going to give it away though. I hate giving away spoilers, especially in comedies, because it ruins the joke. Okay, number 4, another movie you might not have heard of, Fired Up. Recently I did my Pitch Perfect 2 review, and Pitch Perfect kind of reminded me of Fired Up in a lot of ways. The chemistry between the two main characters in this movie, they play so well off of each other, and they're really funny, and there's a lot of interesting characters throughout this movie too. And one that really stuck out to me was Dr. Rick, played by this guy, Ox. Really funny take on cheerleaders, and for some reason, nobody took notice of it, but it's one that I actually watch quite often. Matter of fact, my daughter loves this movie. It's one of her favorite movies, Fired Up. Check it out. Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit. This isn't necessarily a comedy. It's more one of those 80s teen romance movies, and it's produced by John Hughes, and it's Some Kind of Wonderful. And I just wanted to mention it because it's one of those movies that flew under the radar, and not a lot of people talk about it today, but I think it's really great, and it's one of those stories where she likes him, but he likes another girl. And it stars Eric Stoltz, Leah Thompson, and Mary Stuart Masterson. And also, if you're a drummer, you'll definitely get a kick out of this movie, because Mary Stuart Masterson is a drummer in the movie. And it starts off with this great musical intro with just a really catchy drum beat. Some Kind of Wonderful. Alright, for my next movie, my number 2, this is a movie that was such a staple of my childhood. I remember in the 80s watching this on HBO constantly, and it is Better Off Dead with John Cusack. I want my $2. Go that way really fast. If something gets in your way, turn. There's so many great lines through this movie, and I can almost quote the whole thing verbatim. And interestingly enough, John Cusack hates this movie. I remember reading that after the movie first came out and he watched a screening of it, he got really, really upset and walked out. And I hear that still to this day he won't talk about Better Off Dead, but Better Off Dead is one of the greatest comedies ever in my book. I love this movie. A lot of it's tongue-in-cheek and it's slapstick humor, but it's done perfectly. Okay guys, if you watched my Pitch Perfect 2 review, you'll know that my number 1 is Skin Deep. Skin Deep is one of my favorite comedies ever, and I didn't watch it until I was in my 20s, but it actually came out in 1989, I think. But there was just something about this movie that was really hilarious, but it's also very endearing and kind of heartbreaking at moments. John Cusack, he plays a writer, and he's just down on his luck, and he has a sex addiction, and his whole life is just in shambles. He's an alcoholic. I think a lot of people can relate to this movie in some small way. But aside from that, it's also so funny. I mean, there are literally like 2 or 3 scenes that I laugh so loud I get embarrassed. It's that funny. Some people might call it dated because it is an 80s movie, but I love Skin Deep. So anyway, that is my number 1. So guys, those are my favorite unknown comedy movies. If you've seen these movies, Love to know what your thoughts on them. If you haven't seen these movies and you're inspired to go check them out, I would love to hear what you think. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And Rum Dum out.